I've been using the Motorola RAZR Ultra for about 8 months since launch. My expectations with this phone was it was going to be the best flippable, foldable phone of 2025, especially with the Galaxy Flip 7's leaked specs at the time. I thought this was going to be the game-changing phone for flippables. However, I did have quite a few challenges with this phone, including the inner display breaking within 4 months of use. So today I wanted to uncover my experience with the Motorola RAZR Ultra and to let you know if it's worth purchasing in 2026. If this is your first video of mine, welcome. My name is Trent and I like talking about tech, life, and skydiving stuff. If that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing. It helps support the channel and my YouTube content creation journey. Let's start off by covering what I do like about this phone. The form factor, right? It's compact, it's light, it's very pocketable. It even fits in my mini pocket when I go skydiving. Unfolding it is really nice. I really do like the tall resolution it provides, as it makes scrollable content great to read on. This generation in particular brought the mountain trail option, which just means it's the wood variant, and it feels and looks so awesome. It's a texture that I wish other brands would bring to their phone offerings. Having access to the outer screen is just one of those unique benefits to this form factor. Daily, I watch YouTube videos when I'm working at my desk, or I'll have music playing through YouTube Music. It also kind of acts as its own mini tripod, given that you can set it on something. The OLED screens look great too. They have different options for the saturation that you want on the screen, from natural, radiant, and vivid. I personally use vivid as I like the colors on the screen, but I switch to natural when I'm uploading and editing videos and photos on the phone. Also, this was upgraded to the best of the line version of the Snapdragon Elite chip of 2025. I don't really need to go into the performance specs other than anything you throw at this, it will just perform incredibly well. I know it can do some high-end gaming, but I didn't really use it for that. I've done some light gaming and it's been able to handle that very well. This has the best battery and charging options for this phone category, right? It can get me throughout the entire day with plenty left over. And when I do need to charge, the quick charge of 68 watts is just absolutely insane for this phone. It's changed the way that I actually charge. I don't charge every night. I tend to just charge when I need to, particularly like if I'm getting ready for work or if I'm taking a shower, and whatever charge it's left at usually lasts me for the entire day and I just don't have to think about it. The only time I consider really focusing on fully charging this phone is if I know that I'm going to be using the phone a lot during the day, so that's the only time I'll top off the battery. A neat feature that I wasn't fully aware of until I started using the phone was the Lenovo Smart Connect software. This software came in clutch, which I'll explain later in the video, but it's essentially like Microsoft's Phone Link, just with a better and more seamless integration between the phone and their own software. I'm able to mirror the screen on the phone and send text messages and access files through this application, and it honestly just works very well, and I'm very impressed with what Motorola and Lenovo can do with this software. It's great. Now I want to introduce a segment called the Fest Test. One of my hobbies is I like to go to music festivals, and I've had different performance between different phones when I take them to these festivals to record a set, whether it's from the contrast of the dark night with the stage lights, as well as like audio clipping when the volume is too high and it overpowers the microphones of the phone. Surprisingly, the Motorola RAZR did a very good job. I took this phone to Dreamstate last year, and it was able to keep a really good contrast between the stage and the dark night, as well as the audio didn't really clip at all. You can see and hear it for yourself here, but I think it did a really good job for capturing video and audio. It's a unique win for a flip phone, and honestly, it's a mini highlight that I wasn't expecting. While I think the number of positives I've highlighted here outweigh the negatives, I do have some things that I have concerns about, particularly with the longevity of this phone. But 4 months into using this phone, the inner screen completely failed me. I remember exactly what I was doing. I was going through Google Discover, reading news articles, and as I was scrolling and just reading, the screen went completely 100% just white. And I thought, okay, maybe this might just be a glitch. Might need to just do a hard reset on the phone. But I knew things were a lot more serious. When I started booting up the phone, I noticed the phone animation on the outer screen was completely fine, but the inner screen was, again, just 100% white brightness. At that point, I think there was just something more serious with the screen, as well as like the connector between the screen and the board. Now, to credit Motorola, they did send me the instructions on how to ship this back to them, and I was able to get this repaired under the warranty. I received the same exact phone back, and everything was working as fine. But this does bring up the concern, how durable are these phones? I wasn't doing anything unusual. I've never dropped this phone. It's in pristine condition. And to have it fail on me in the middle just really concerns me about how long this phone is going to last, right? Also, I was out of a primary phone. Motorola didn't provide a temporary unit to me, and it took about a week for this phone to be repaired. Coincidentally though, I did order the Pixel 10 Pro because it was the launch week, and I had to wait for that to arrive. So for about 4 days, I used the screen just on the outer display. And it was doable. Most of the tasks I needed to do, I was able to get done, but there were some things that I wasn't able to do. I also want to mention, as I said previously, the Lenovo Smart Connect software came in really clutch here. I was able to use that software to mirror the inner screen display to my computer, and then I was able to transfer all of my data to the Pixel 10 Pro so I didn't lose it. If I hadn't set that up beforehand, I would have run into a lot of issues and I wouldn't have been able to recover the data from the phone. So I think a lot of things aligned here for that to work, but I am very thankful that I had that connection set up with the software. So besides that serious issue, right, I also found that the cameras on the RAZR are just all right. This phone received triple 50 megapixel cameras, including the inner display punch hole camera. This phone launched at $1,300, right? So I was expecting some very big improvements from Motorola, given that I've seen and owned the previous RAZR models and I knew where the camera dips were at. The scenes look great when there's proper lighting. It definitely captures a lot of background views, maybe a little too saturated for my taste, but they're pretty high quality. However, when it comes to low light as well as just like selfie like type of photography, I don't really like how the camera's photos come out. I really do not like how I look in the photos, to be honest. My skin is transformed into this more pale look and my lips get this red accent that just doesn't match how I actually look in real life. I do feel like at $1,300, this phone really should be having some of the best photos coming out of it. Next, I want to highlight how unuseful Moto AI is. I had a feeling when this was launched and they made this the big focus of their event that this was the era of just saying AI, AI, AI. Everything had to have AI in it. And for Motorola, they more than likely felt like they needed to have some sort of AI plan versus not having any at all. I feel like now that time has gone on, it actually has hurt them more, as there's just no reason to really use Moto AI, in my opinion. We're seeing advancements in Google Gemini at like a really high speed, and all of the major players have their own version and are advancing, but Moto AI just feels like a very stuck in the past 1.0 version compared to what AI is today. I haven't found any reason to use the Moto AI key. I think the features are just like very lackluster that I can get a better version somewhere else. I would never consider purchasing this phone specifically for Moto AI. Let's just make that incredibly clear. And just a small peeve of mine is the call spam filtering with this phone, which is pretty much non-existent. I use Google Fi with this phone, and while Google Fi does their best to do spam protection, there's still a lot of phone calls that come through that are spam. I know other brands such as Google's call screening and Apple has their own call screening, and Samsung does a fantastic job of just blocking unwanted calls. I wish Motorola would include something like that. Although I do feel like that's more of a carrier problem and they should be figuring that out. It would just be really nice if they had something built into the phone too. So what's the conclusion with the Motorola RAZR Ultra? Hardware-wise, it's a high-quality device. Motorola brought the best Snapdragon chip to the lineup for the first time ever. They made huge battery improvements by increasing the battery size, and that charging speed is amazing. And this wood variant of the Mountain Trail is just such a delight to hold and use. It looks and feels great, and I just absolutely love gripping this phone. It's definitely one of my favorite phones for 2025, and from a pure performance perspective, it's such a beast. But on paper, it looks great from the start, and as I continue to use this, I start to question about the longevity of this phone, right? All under a year, I've seen this phone fail hardware-wise. Camera quality didn't change much from the previous versions, and I just can't see any reason to use Moto AI. I can't say that I found the full value of the $1,300 in this phone. Part of it, I blame Motorola for needing to improve on some things, but I also think they're just taking some bets to try to stay competitive, and over time, I don't think it's going to play out. With all of this to say, if you're in the market for a flippable foldable and you don't really want to consider Samsung's offering, I think this phone is great. I just wouldn't purchase this at full MSRP. The resale value has dropped significantly, so you should be able to find some cheaper out there online. I would even consider getting the RAZR Plus model from 2024, as that didn't change too much from this model. I think you can get a lot of the same benefits and performance at a significant reduction in price. However, I do feel like they're targeting a very niche audience, and if you really want the best performance in this style and compact form factor, this really is one of the best out there that you can get. I think that there's just some improvements that I hope to see in the 2026 version, and maybe if they do improve those, it'll be worth the price that they're asking for. So what are your thoughts on the RAZR Ultra? Do you have this phone? Have you used it? Do you prefer a different variant? Comment below and let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this phone. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, leave a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. It goes a long way, and I have more reviews that I have prepared, as well as the Pixel 10 Pro and the Samsung S25 Edge. So stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.